Okay, so here we are live once again. We've got another action figure unboxing, and this is going to be Captain America: Brave New World. Sam Wilson. It's got me backwards. Ah, that's what's wrong with this. Okay. See, like when I started filming it last week, something seemed off about how this camera is set up, but it's got me flipped on the screen. So I don't know if I'm flipped as you're watching it. So I might be backwards. So the Acrim Acrim Niatapak. So Captain America, Sam Wilson in the role of Captain America. Excellent likeness of Anthony Mackie. Now, a couple of things I want to address first, real quick. One is that when I was doing my disastrous unboxing of the Total Justice Black Lightning figure when the phone decided to try to restart on me, and gave you 6 minutes of black screen. Not the kind of Black History Month I was intending on talking about, but yeah, during that video I talked about the creator of Black Lightning, Tony Isabella, and I swear it must have been like not more than like a day or two after I did that video that Tony Isabella decided to come out as transgender and would now like to be referred to with female pronouns in the she, her. So did not know this when I was shooting that video. So that's just a coincidence. I was not trying to misgender Tony Isabella. I don't feel bad about calling her Tony Isabella though, because apparently she's still going to be writing under that name, although she's now going by the name Jenny. So just so that's noted, and just so that nobody thinks that I was trying to misgender Tony Isabella. That's not what was going on there. I try to be respectful and call people what they want to be called, because it's no skin off my nose. I don't care. It ain't my pronouns. It's what you want to be called. So I'll call you whatever the hell you want to be called. You want to be called an Apache attack helicopter? Fine. I don't care. So, but yeah, she's a she, her now. So just so you know, that was not intentional. Second of all, uh, those of you who watched some of the episodes last week would know that I had planned on opening up the Black Panther Marvel Legends Wakanda Forever assortment, and obviously not going to do that this week now, because work just kicked my ass this week. Just literally just kicked my ass all around the city of Atlanta. Like, so I have not had the time or the energy, certainly not both at the same time, to do those videos. So I apologize to anybody who was looking forward to those, but those are going to get postponed until next week is the plan now. So but that's good, actually, because I've been meaning to pick this guy up and open him up, and I saw him at Walmart today, and I realized that the movie is actually coming out this week, because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube talking about it, and apparently the reviews aren't so good, which I'm disappointed, because I am a longtime fan of Captain America, and like when I say Captain America, I do mean Steve Rogers. Let's not mince words here, but I do love the Falcon, Sam Wilson. The Captain America that we're going to be seeing in this film. I love that character. He's been a part of the Captain America mythology like since before I was born. So he's just as much a part of it as Steve is at this point to me. He's like, just as much part as, say, Dick Grayson is in the Batman mythology, or I don't know, like trying to think of it. Wally West is for the Flash, maybe. And I'm sure some people, maybe Captain America, their favorite Captain America is Sam Wilson. The same way that my favorite Flash is Wally West, even though like they keep insisting on pushing Barry Allen on us these days. But I still like Wally West best. Likewise, I'm sure there are people who are fans of the Bucky version of Captain America. I'm sure even a few people think John Walker is the best Captain America, but I would have to disagree with them. But for me, it's always going to be about Steve. Steve's my guy. But that's kind of part of why I think that Sam will be a great Falcon. Or, sorry, Sam will be a great Captain America in the movie because Steve's his guy. Steve's his favorite Captain America. So he knows that Steve is an impossible legacy to live up to, and there's no way he could possibly live up to Steve's legend. But that's why he's going to try even harder, folks. That's why I think he's going to be a great Captain America once all is said and done, and he's going to do Steve proud. So, eventually they're going to reboot this thing or something, and they're going to bring Steve Rogers back, and he's going to be Captain America again. But until then, I say let's just enjoy the ride. You know what? We didn't really talk about this package much, did we, before I opened it up? So we got this shot of Anthony Mackie here with the shield. You'll notice that this is all the same picture all the way around, and it does not pick Captain America with the wings. So I'm not expecting this figure is going to have wings. I don't see how it would fit in this package in any way. But let's go ahead and open them up. Oh, that's what the top looks like. It's got a little plastic hook so they can hang it on pegs if they want to. And then you can't have a Captain America figure without a shield. You gotta have a shield. Maybe they can skip out on Sam's wings, but they can't skip out on Captain America's shield. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about this shield as I interpret it in the movie. And I guess we'll see if I'm right at some point. They'll probably talk about it in some movie in the future. But remember when Steve gives Sam the shield in Endgame, and Sam says it feels like it was made for somebody else, and Steve says it's not. Well, you notice this is not the same exact shield that Steve had when he was Captain America. And the most obvious difference is you can see there's this little ring around the middle of the white ring in the center. You see that where it's just kind of embossed in. So that is different from Steve's shield. And there's a few other subtle differences too, but that's the main difference. I'm not going to bore you with all the gory details as to the differences in this shield. But there's to me two explanations as to why this shield is the way it is. And one is that it wasn't made for somebody else. It was made specifically for Sam. While he was time traveling around, he went by Wakanda and had them make him a new Captain America shield so he could give it to Sam. So that's the one option. Or the other option is that he actually did take the remains of his shield, his original shield, and had it repaired. And that's why it looks a little bit different, but it's still pretty similar. We can see there's some detail in the back. It looks just like how his shield looks in the back of the movie. Doesn't have the straps on there, though, but it does have little clamps that would be holding the straps on. So that's a couple of theories as to where that shield might have come from. So let's go ahead and get Captain America himself out of the package, Mr. Sam Wilson. And I'm going to keep calling him Falcon. It's just going to happen. Like, I realize that he's not going by that name anymore because he's calling himself Captain America now. But, you call a character Falcon for 45 years. And it just kind of becomes a habit, So I'm occasionally going to refer to him as Falcon. It's not an intentional slight, is what I'm trying to say. So this is not the same costume that Sam wore in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier television series. In fact, it's a little bit less accurate, I think, to the comic book than that costume was, unfortunately. But we can see it's still a very recognizable Captain America costume with the the Sam Wilson flourish of having the wings attached to the star. And of course, that was something Steve had too on the stealth suit. And the stealth suit is actually, at least until Endgame, it was my favorite live action Captain America movie suit. The Endgame one, I think, finally eclipsed it. But I did really like that stealth suit. And it's one of those things where it's like, that's not the classic Captain America suit. So I do feel like that kind of shows you that it's not necessarily comic book accuracy that makes a good costume. Sometimes sometimes it's just something that's got to be taken on its own, you know. So some things translate better into live action than other things. And like when you see Steve a lot of the time on screen, you would just kind of see him like this from kind of like the midsection up. So you wouldn't really even notice like the stripes around the middle or anything, but you did notice the stripes around the shoulders, didn't you? So that's why I think that stealth suit works really well in the movie, better than it does in the comic book, actually. And that was introduced as an outfit for Steve to wear in the comics. That was what he was wearing while Bucky was still Captain America. After Steve came back, he still wasn't Captain America. Bucky was still Captain America. That's another thing that I think people kind of complain about with the movie version, is that they did skip Bucky and go directly to Sam as far as being Cap. And a lot of people did want to see Bucky get his chance to be Cap too. But, you know, I don't know if it would work as well in the movie, again, just because of there's some other darker elements to Bucky in the movies. I think they probably made the right decision in just having him go straight to Thunderbolts. Anyway, there he is with the shield. He's got two little holes on either one of his gauntlets, and the shield just kind of plugs in there. So that's where he holds it. And I suppose you could, if you really wanted to, and I might display him this way on my shelf, put the peg into his hand and have him just hold the peg. So I figure when I display him on the shelf, I might display him that way, because then I can have the shield facing forward. I am a little disappointed that they did not include the wings on this version of Captain America, because the wings are one of the things that makes the Sam Wilson version of Cap a little more distinct versus, helps him stand out from Steve Rogers. You know what I mean? So I would have preferred that they had that. They do have like a deluxe Titan Hero figure that has the wings, but it also has the helmet. And I'd rather him not have the helmet. I think he looks better without the helmet. That's just me. He doesn't have the cowl like he had on Winter Soldier. You can see these are just goggles that go around his head. Going back to the original Falcon costume that he had in the movie, where he just had goggles. So let's go ahead. We're going to set the shield. Oh, before we set the shield aside, one more thing. He does have these holes on his back, so you can attach the shield to his back as well. So there we go. Pretty cool. I like that. All right, let's talk about his articulation. So Sam's head rotates all the way around. He can't really look up or down very far, just a little bit. That's disappointing because, again, he's a flying character. I would like to be able to, look forward as much as he can anyway. And granted, the Titan Hero series articulation has never been as good as, the DC figures of the same scale. Neither the Mattel figures nor the Spin Master figures. Both Mattel and Spin Master managed to give their figures better articulation, and that's something that Hasbro slacks on a lot with their Titan Hero series. Anyway, Sam's arms, of course, rotate all the way around his shoulder and move up about that far. Not all the way, but fairly decent amount. They look like they should move up further because you can still see some joint there. But no, they're stuck in about that position. And he does have wrist articulation, but it's kind of difficult to get it to move all the way around because you see the way his gauntlets are set up. There's like a little bit of a lip there. I don't know what you call that. It does seem like it would hinder his wrist movement if he needs to like flick his wrist back like that for some reason. So that's probably not the best to do there. There's no torso articulation whatsoever, and Captain America can kick up about that far, so about 90 degrees, pretty decent range of motion at the hips, and of course he can do the splits no problem. So these are the later Titan Hero series. They've got like a bit better articulation than the original ones, which are really stiff and Frankenstein-like, but still not as great, like I said, as the DC figures that Mattel made or the ones that Spin Master is currently making. But it is a really nice sculpt. The paint does kind of lack because there's no paint detail at all on the back of the torso, as you can see. So it gives it that kind of knockoff toy quality. And you can see where like the stripes are supposed to go all the way around the midsection. And honestly, they don't even reach the. Usually, at least the Captain America figure has stripes that reach kind of like the seam where the torso comes together. But in this one, even they don't go all the way around. It's just kind of like three white stripes with two very narrow red stripes down the middle. So that's disappointing. But the sculpt is a lot better than the paint job. Thankfully, there's a lot of cool detail to it. I'm sure a lot of this is digital at this point, where it's got like the actual threads of the fabric and everything in there. Very impressive looking, but it's a lot easier to do these days with computers, I think. So in keeping with the Black History Month theme that I've been talking about this month, let's talk a little bit before I close this out about the history of Sam Wilson as a character in Captain America comics and why I feel like he's one of the most important of all Black superheroes. So he was actually, I think, the second Black superhero that Marvel made after Black Panther. And he was created to be not necessarily a sidekick to Captain America, but you could be forgiven for calling him that, I think, but more of like an equal partner. Cap was training this guy to be a superhero, but he wasn't like a juvenile like Bucky or Robin or something like that. He was a grown ass man who was the same age as Captain America. Well, I mean, like biologically. I mean, obviously Cap was about like 20 years older because he was frozen, but they were both still, I think, supposed to be guys like in their late 20s, early 30s at this point in the story. So yeah, Cap does train him to be a superhero, but really the partnership between Sam and Cap was much more of a partnership of equals. That they were two men who both regarded each other as equals. And I think that was an important thing for a lot of kids growing up in the 60s and 70s, especially, to see a white man and a black man working together as equals. That was a really cool thing to see. Like, Cap wasn't the boss. Sam respected him, the way you would respect Captain America, the way anybody would respect Captain America. But again, it was more sort of like they both saw each other as peers. So it was a very different relationship than what than what Captain America had with Bucky. And I think one of the best partnerships that Captain America's ever had, and he's had a lot with a lot of different characters. But Falcon is one that Cap always wound up coming back to. And in fact, when they did the story originally, the Winter Soldier storyline, which culminated in Bucky taking the role of Captain America, I remember even saying at that time that I thought it would be more interesting to see Sam Wilson step up into the role of Captain America, and I kind of hoped, maybe one day I'll get to see that. Maybe one day that'll be something that we'll see. And sure enough, eventually we did. I think that it met with a lot more controversy at the time than it probably merited, and I think that has something to do with just them having like a whole lot of different gender and race swapped characters at that time, and that was around the same time that Thor was a woman, and they did Ironheart. And I think people were almost kind of looking at it as like, do we have any of the original superheroes left? I mean, technically, Spider-Man's still running around, but you still got Miles Morales. So, so where are any of the superheroes I grew up with, kind of thing? And I think there might have been some kind of racial component to it, but for the most part, I think it was more just kind of like they just wanted Steve Rogers back, I think is the thing. I didn't really care because I figured eventually Steve Rogers would be coming back, and I'll just enjoy the ride until until he does. So I'm used to stories where different characters take up the role of Captain America. In fact, my favorite Captain America story is the original Captain America No More from the 1980s. Mark Gruenwald wrote that one, where Steve is forced to resign as Captain America rather than become an agent of the government, and they give the shield to John Walker. And you want to talk about a guy who's not worthy of being Captain America? You want to talk about John Walker? That's the guy. But even he eventually found his place as U.S. agent. I will point out that John Walker is one of the few superheroes I know that's from the state of Georgia. So he might be an asshole, but he's our asshole. Anyway, when they did eventually bring Steve back, then they did that whole stupid Hyder Cap thing. So that was dumb. So, but they brought Steve back finally, like the real Steve, brought him back as Captain America, and Sam went back to being the Falcon for a little bit, but now they're both Captain America. Like, that might be kind of confusing at parties or whatever, but as long as they're both fine with it, I don't really care. And Sam actually has a shield with its own unique design to it now, where it's got, I think, like a blue, I think it's a blue stripe around the outside, and then a white stripe, and then a red stripe, and then a different star emblem on the middle, which looks really cool. I really like that shield. I would like to have a figure with that shield at some point because I do really like it. But this is the shield that he has in the movie, so that makes sense. So I'm not complaining about that. Don't think that I'm complaining about that. So another interesting thing that I read insofar as talking about Sam Wilson as Captain America is that I've read a thing talking about merchandise sales, and apparently, not only does Steve Rogers still sell more Captain America merchandise than Sam Wilson, that's to be expected. He's the classic version of the character. But apparently, merchandise of Sam Wilson as the Falcon sells better than merchandise of Sam Wilson as Captain America. So that's an interesting thing. But I guess we'll see if that holds, and maybe merch of Sam will start to eclipse, or merch of Sam as Cap will start to eclipse merch of Sam as the Falcon once the movie is released. Because God knows there's a lot of merchandise of Sam as Captain America on the shelves right now. So I guess we'll see how it does. And there's still plenty of stuff with Steve out there as Captain America. I think there's room for both. I like having various characters and various identities, and I think that's interesting. Batman is my most favorite character, and Dick Grayson is one of my favorite characters in the Batman legend. And of course, Dick Grayson has been Robin, Dick Grayson has been Nightwing, and Dick Grayson has even been Batman himself. He was a secret agent for a little bit. He's done all kinds of things. And, I've bought an action figure of Dick Grayson in every single identity that I've been able to. I haven't done like an Agent 27 Dick Grayson figure yet that I know of, but I would buy one if they did, obviously. But I've got the Silver Age Robin, I've got the Golden Age Robin, I've got Nightwing in his original costume, Nightwing in his 90s costume, I got Dick Grayson as Batman, I got Dick Grayson figures out the wazoo, and I don't figure it would be any different for me and Sam Wilson. Like, as many different looks as Sam Wilson has, I'll buy figures of him. I'd like to have a figure of him in his original costume, the green one that he first appeared in. I've got a lot of nostalgic affection for the 70s costume because that's when I grew up with. But there was a costume that he had in the 90s. It didn't last too long. But I don't think there's ever been an action figure of that one. It had like a full head cowl with like some kind of antennae looking things coming off of it. It wasn't as good as the 70s costume, but I'd still like to have a figure of it. Or like I want to say like in the early 2000s, I've got the Marvel Universe figure of that one, and it basically looks like the 70s costume, but a more streamlined version of it. But love Sam Wilson as a character. I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle him in the role of Captain America in the movie. Hopefully the movie's good. Like I said, I'd seen some bad reviews of it, and I know the behind the scenes on that movie was a mess, and I've been worried about it just because of that. But hopefully it proves me wrong, and when I go to see it, I want to really enjoying it. So anyway, it's fortuitous that my work schedule wound up being the way it was, and I was able to open this guy in time for the movie to release. So those Black Panther figures, I promise I will get around to doing those next week, but I do want to do them all in 1 week. So obviously I don't have enough time left to do that, unfortunately. But we do have a lot more cool stuff coming, especially for tons of reshoots. And you know the story about Anthony Mackie just being on the set and being so pissed off that they didn't have a script that he threw a chair. And he's like, "Where's the damn script? Because I know we're going to get a script eventually, and we're just going to wind up reshooting this anyway." And I don't blame the guy. I don't blame. There's a lot riding on this movie, and a lot of it's riding on him. And you know that if Brave New World does tank at the box office, he's going to take a lot of the blame, fairly or unfairly. I think more unfairly, because we all know Anthony Mackie's a good actor. We all love him as, Sam Wilson, as the Falcon, and then could he carry a movie on his own as Captain America? I think so. I think he could carry a movie on his own as the Falcon even. He's just a good character. That's it. So yeah, and then the whole thing with I don't want to get too into the politics of it, but the whole thing recently where he'd said the comments of how he didn't think, Captain America should represent America. And I don't think he meant that in that way. I think what he meant to say is that Captain America shouldn't only represent America, and he just kind of misspoke as far as that's my interpretation of it. That's as I interpreted it. Gustavo says, to be fair, he wants the character to be well written, not like the Disney Plus garbage show. Exactly. That's the thing that he was pissed off about, is that, he wanted to be like any actor would, any actor worth a damn. He wants to be working with a good script. He needs good material, and he can make that material shine. We know Anthony Mackie is a good actor. We've seen him do excellent acting in several projects, and we know that he's good as this character. So, like I said, if the movie flops, it's not going to be because Anthony Mackie failed the movie. It's going to be because the movie failed Anthony Mackie, and that's all there is to it. So, anyway, as far as my being, I hope it's good. I really want to like it, and I guess we'll see when I watch it. Hopefully, I'll enjoy it, but I am at best cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way. So, but it won't be because of Anthony Mackie. I think that movie fails. If anything, I think he's gonna do his level best to try to save it. Remember how earlier in the video I said that there's no way Sam could measure up to Steve as Captain America, but that's what's gonna make Sam such a great Captain America, is he's gonna try to do it anyway. He's gonna do his best to live up to that legend. I think Anthony Mackie is that in real life. He's even if he knows that the script isn't there, literally isn't there. He's gonna do his best to try to carry this movie and give us fans a movie that we enjoy. It is a pretty cool action figure. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So if I had thought about it, I went and grabbed the Falcon figure that I have so we can compare. There was also a Falcon and Winter Soldier one that did have both the shield and the wings. That was a deluxe figure, but unfortunately I never got around to getting that one. Maybe I can find one day for a decent price. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure that you like and subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Sam Wilson as Captain America, both the figure and the character in general. I want to hear your thoughts on this, because it's a fairly interesting subject to talk about. Tomorrow I'll be back with another action figure. I promise I'll be back tomorrow. It might be really early in the morning. It might be sometime in the mid-afternoon like this show. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. We're going to play it by ear. But I do know what figure I'm going to open next. And while it's not going to be one of the pleasure to meet you likewise, Gustavo. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I don't know what figure I'm gonna do next. I'm sorry. I do know what figure I'm going to do next. And it's going to be a Marvel Legends figure. That's what I'm going to do. So tomorrow, I'm going to be back with a Marvel Legends figure. Not the Black Panther figures yet. That's going to be next week now. That got postponed since I'm only going to have a few more days this week that I can shoot videos. But yeah, I will have another Marvel Legends figure. I haven't done a Marvel Legends figure in a while, and I've got like with DC, I've got like a big stack of Marvel Legends I need to work through, and there are quite a few Black characters in there that I can go ahead and get done for this Black History Month. Oh, also, let's see some of the new action figures that I picked up this week. So these will be figures that we'll see upcoming on the show. Not this one. This one. Yeah, I got Masters of the WW Universe China. That's an older figure, but it checks out. I've been meaning to get that one for a while. And another one I've been meaning to get for a while, the Masterverse version of Grizzlor. So got some more He-Man stuff coming up, so that should be fun. So, but tomorrow, another Marvel Legends figure and another for our chapter in Black History Month. So hope you enjoyed the episode. We will talk to you next time. Bye.